Good morning. Please be seated as Tiffany Steinwert, Dean of Religious and Spiritual Life, delivers the invocation.
Let us be together. This morning, we gather poised between a student's past and a graduate's future. Beyond the waters of Waban, the world waits with bated breath for a new generation to rise to the challenges of a beautiful and complex world. But right here, right now, we are called to set aside the expectations and responsibilities with which this degree will be conferred in order to simply savor this moment. This sense of pride and accomplishment, this feeling of joy and fulfillment. For the memory of this moment will sustain us in years to come, offering confidence and courage when doubt and disappointment shadow our way. So may we this day cultivate a discipline of gratitude, grateful for all we have gained in our time here, for a passionate love of learning and a relentless pursuit of truth, for a tenacity forged in the fires of hope and struggle, for a vision of leadership fortified by the twin virtues of resistance and persistence, and for a kinship of unity built on the strength of our diversity. As we look to the future, may we hold fast to the fervent belief in ourselves and each other that when the time comes, we can and will make a difference, just as we always have. May it be so, now and forevermore. Amen.
Thank you, Dean Steinwert. On behalf of the trustees, faculty, staff, alumni, and the Wellesley class of 2017, it is my privilege to brought the sun. Looking out on this gathering, I see so many proud and excited parents, family members, and friends. For you as well. You've helped make it possible in both ways, large and small, and we are so glad that you are here today to share in this celebration. A special welcome to those among you who are yourselves Wellesley alumni. I also want to acknowledge the many who could not be present today. Among them are the 4 members of the class of 2017 now representing Wellesley at the NCAA National Championship in Crewe this weekend. We are so proud of our defending national champions as they compete in their 8th straight appearance at the NCAA Championships. I think, too, of beloved family and friends unable to travel for whatever reasons, illness, expense, or an unavoidable conflict. I think of the pressing issue of immigration and those unable to enter the country, or those for whom the risk is too great to either enter or travel across the United States. I think of those who've passed on I think of those who've passed on from this life but remain with us in spirit. You are not forgotten. We honor and thank you. To the class of 2017, you are the first Wellesley students that I will have the honor of sending into the world. For that reason, and for so many others, you will always have a special place in my heart. This past September, I stood before you at Convocation, a very new president. I spoke especially to this great green class entering your senior year. I urge you to take time to savor this last of your student years, to take time for friendships, to take time to explore new frontiers, and last but not least, to take time to help your classmates behind you, including your littles. Over the past 9 months, I watched and learned from you, and I'm delighted to say that I've seen my hopes fulfilled many times over. Today, you close one chapter and begin another. This day is your day. We could not be prouder of you. To introduce our student speaker.
Thank you, President Johnson. Good morning, and thank you all for joining us today to celebrate the class of 2017. On the behalf of Class Council, Casey and I would like to welcome the family, friends, and guests who have come from all over the world to celebrate this great green class. Over the past 4 years, we have had the honor of serving as co-presidents and of understanding what makes this class so extraordinary. Many characteristics describe us: dedication, motivation, resilience, and engagement. Perhaps most importantly, throughout the various events that have defined our time here, we have, in my unbiased opinion, remained committed to our motto, not to be ministered unto, but to minister. On the behalf of our classmates, we would also like to thank the administration, faculty, and staff. You have listened to our fears, encouraged our dreams, and allowed us to learn, unlearn, and relearn all over again.
We are grateful for your guidance, support, and kindness. As a wise woman once said, it takes a village. As the beneficiaries of a Wellesley education, we assume an obligation to make a difference in the world. And this year's student commencement speaker is already on her way. A Middle Eastern Studies major from Canton, Ohio, she has served as the president of Mock Trial, as an advocate for Syrian refugees, and is a proud member of the Wellesley Arab Women's Association. Like many of you, I personally know her through her epic kickboxing classes. Next year, she will be a student at the Ohio State University College of Medicine. Please join us in welcoming to the stage our friend and classmate, Tala Nashawati.
Distinguished members of the Board of Trustees, President Johnson, Secretary Clinton. Faculty, staff, family, friends, and my fellow graduates of the class of 2017. Ahlan bikum. Welcome. When I first set foot on Wellesley's campus as a junior in high school, on a mission to decide where I was going to challenge myself, find myself, and change myself, something just clicked. It was one of those feelings you can't really pinpoint in the moment, but looking back at my time here, I can say that it was a feeling of belonging. I saw intelligent, driven, extremely fashionable students walking across campus. And I wanted to be a part of it. We all had our reasons for making Wellesley our home. Some of us had long histories here. Some of us decided to apply to Wellesley on a whim. Or, in my case, because of a little hint from a high school guidance counselor who saw slightly feminist tendencies. Regardless of how we started, I think it's safe to say that now we're all approximately in the same place. Supportive, confident, open-minded people who are going to make the world shake when we take our first earth-shattering steps. Wellesley has given us a lot of tools, an ability to have honest, tough dialogue, a thirst for knowledge, a passionate yearning for equality in every sense of the word. But before we go out there with these tools, I want to talk about something else. Emeralds. They are known for their beautiful, bright green color, just like us as members of the green class. And, like us, emeralds are valuable, rare, and pretty durable. But there's something else emeralds are known for: their flaws. I know it's hard to admit, especially as Wellesley students, but we all have a lot of flaws. We are incomplete, scratched up in some places, jagged around the edges. When we started out at Wellesley, stumbling around with self-doubt at orientation, annoying our professors by going to every single office hour with uncertainty and anxiousness, waiting way too long in the cold for the Peter Pan bus because we read the wrong schedule. We were really cracked emeralds. Over the past few years, with the help of the home that Wellesley gave us, we've fixed ourselves up. We weren't afraid to point out those really glaring scratches to each other so that we could smooth them out and make ourselves brighter. Wellesley taught us about the things we tried not to see through tough conversations and so many diverse voices, about how we can hurt other people through ignorance, the problematic things we say and do, the millions of things we have yet to learn, the room we have to grow. Think about how you started here. If you were anything like me, you hardly knew yourself. You were certainly an emerald, but a rough one, an undiscovered one, an overwhelmingly flawed one. And when you got called out, pointed in the right direction, supported and loved by your Wellesley sibs, you patched up those flaws. Still, it's nearly impossible to find a completely flawless emerald. Flawed emeralds are sometimes even better than flawless ones, because the flaws show authenticity and character. So, yes, we are still flawed. I know I'm still very flawed. I still get lost in the science center, and I'm too proud to ask for directions. I procrastinate too much, evident by the fact that I saved both my PE classes for my very last semester. I get easily flustered and loud and rude when someone disagrees with me. Whether it's about which ice cream flavor in Lulu is the best, or political stances. But what really matters is the growth we experienced here. Because Wellesley is a place of growth, change, dialogue, and love. It's a stop on our path to wherever it is we're going. Here, we make ourselves stronger and prepare for the grueling journey ahead with every weapon we need. We are a lot tougher now than we were when we started. We are a lot kinder. We are also a lot angrier and a lot more willing to show it. Because Wellesley taught us it's okay to be angry and frustrated and loud. It's okay to yell about the things that hurt us and fight with fists flying for the things we know we deserve. We've learned to let our emotions, intellect, and strong judgment guide us where we need to go. We've also realized that it's okay to skip a day of class and take a walk around Lake Waban if we're breaking down. It's okay to stay in for the night and just order lemon Thai when your friends want to go out. It's okay to just let yourself be. It's okay to be queer, trans, an immigrant, a person of color, a faithful believer of any religion, or, like me, the daughter of 2 Syrian immigrants who worked and worked and worked so that I could stand on this stage. we've been through a lot of tough moments at Wellesley. All the way from broken printers to devastating, heart-wrenching social realities. We've experienced loss at Wellesley. But we got through those moments together. Whether it was through demanding a welcoming cultural space in Acorns, protesting in Morton Park, marching through Boston, participating in huge national movements to fight against the inequality Wellesley has helped us see. Or just giving each other a shoulder to cry on, one sib to another. Getting through those tough moments, supporting each other, and coming out better and brighter and greener is what makes us really special Emeralds. Now, as you go out into the world, armed and dangerous and shimmering with your Wellesley weapons, in the words of Secretary Clinton, never doubt that you are valuable and powerful and deserving of every chance in the world to pursue your dreams. To add to her wise words, let me say, never doubt that you are durable. You are valuable. You are rare and unique. Let yourself be flawed. Go proudly and confidently into the world with your blinding hues to show everyone who's boss. And break every glass ceiling that still remains. Thank you.
Thank you, Tala. Those were truly inspirational words. Now we have the opportunity to recognize and congratulate outstanding members of the faculty, recipients of Wellesley's Teaching Prize and named chairs, and those who are retiring. The Panansky Prize for Excellence in Teaching is awarded each year to honor members of our faculty who have demonstrated excellence as teachers. When we consider how Wellesley professors routinely innovate and inspire in their classrooms, to be selected for this prize must be seen as an especially outstanding achievement. As the class of 2017 can attest, and as I can affirm, Wellesley faculty are immensely dedicated and talented. They are extraordinary educators, researchers, scholars, artists, and mentors. This year, I've had the pleasure of watching the faces of our students and alumni light up as they've shared the moving stories of how a Wellesley professor changed their life and helped them achieve breakthroughs, both academic and personal. So from all of us assembled here today, to the Wellesley College faculty, we thank you for your commitment to the education of the class of 2017. According to the rules for the prize, the finalists are selected by a student-faculty committee on the basis of nominations from students, faculty, and staff. Today, we recognize these three faculty: Corinne Gartner, philosophy; Brenner Greer, history; and Andrew Schultz, mathematics. Would the three of you join me on stage? I will now read excerpts from Corinne Gartner's citation. With intelligence, enthusiasm, and compassion, Corinne Gartner helps her students probe life's most profound questions, guiding them on a tour, as one student put it, of everything from the nature of the soul to what defines the good life to how ancient philosophers conceptualized death. As an assistant professor of philosophy, Professor Gartner touches the lives of all of her students, majors and non-majors alike, often tapping an undiscovered passion for philosophy and expanding and sharpening how her students understand and interact with the world. She helped me grow as a philosopher in and out of class, said one student. But these outcomes are not surprising. Professor Gartner's students describe her approach to teaching as one defined by responsiveness, inclusivity, and empathy. She inspires us to reach further and believe in ourselves, and she fosters and strengthens our ability to engage critically with the world, they said. Professor Gartner is deeply invested in her students' well-being and sees them as equals. Perhaps most importantly, she is steadfastly devoted to teaching to every conceivable learning style and knowledge base. She listens to her students and adapts her teaching to their needs. For all the ways she opens to students to new ways of seeing, thinking, and learning, it is an honor to present Corinne Gartner with the Anna and Samuel Panansky Teaching Prize. I will now read excerpts from Brenner Greer's citation. History is alive, dynamic, compelling, and made deeply personal in Brenner Greer's classes. Her teaching is grounded in her ability to create powerful encounters with the past that illuminate the present. Professor Greer's teaching, students agree, makes them stronger writers, more agile in their thinking, and more open to ideas from all viewpoints. The Knaufel Assistant Professor of Social Sciences and Assistant Professor of History, Professor Greer teaches courses on topics such as the Cold War culture and politics, the 20th century Black freedom struggle, and consumer culture and citizenship. Among her many gifts as a master educator is her ability to help students become deep thinkers and astute investigators. She weaves the ideas of scholars, historical events, and the thoughts of her students together to teach us about the world and ourselves, said one student. She encourages her students to challenge what they learn and to find deeper connections within course materials, said another. Professor Greer's teaching exemplifies the best qualities of the Wellesley liberal arts tradition. She made my liberal arts experience fully interdisciplinary, said a math and computer science student. I realized I could be a historian. He is an algebraist by training. He came to Wellesley and immediately began teaching and creating courses not only in his own discipline, but in more distant fields like numerical analysis, said a fellow professor. His popularity among the students spills from lecture-based courses to independent studies, theses, and research projects. Under Professor Schultz's supervision, more Wellesley students than ever have entered the prestigious William Lowell Putnam mathematical competition, reigniting Wellesley's participation in the famously difficult contest. For challenging his students to reach new heights, for outstanding service to the college, and for sharing his gift of teaching math as a dialogue, is an honor to present Andrew Schultz with the Anna and Samuel Pinansky Teaching Prize. Congratulations again to our Pinansky Prize winners. Thank you. It is our tradition at commencement to announce the names of faculty being recognized with new appointments to endowed chairs. Today we recognize 9 faculty members. An appointment to an endowed chair is a significant milestone in the academic life of a professor. It recognizes scholarly distinction and honors service to the college and to one's profession. I will ask these faculty to stand and remain standing so that we can congratulate them. I'm just going to ask you if you could hold your applause until I've read the names of all of these distinguished faculty members. Dan Brabender, Frost Professor of Environmental Science. Stanley Chang, Mildred Lane Kemper Professor. I want you to stand. I'm looking for you. Okay. Alex Diesel, Teresa Malarkey Associate Professor. Irene Mata, Barbara Morris Casperson Associate Professor of Humanities. Mary Kate McGowan, Margaret Clapp, Class of 1930 Distinguished Alumna Professor. James Naugle, Marion Butler McLean Professor in the History of Ideas. Mala Radhakrishnan, Whitehead Associate Professor of Critical Thought. And Smitha Radhakrishnan, Luella Lemaire Associate Professor of Women's Studies. and Casey Rothschild, Norma Walentz Hess, Associate Professor. Congratulations to each of you. This year, we honor 10 faculty who are retiring. We have benefited in countless ways from their lifelong dedication to their students, their colleagues, and to the mission of this institution. Through their instruction, research, creative work, and service to the college over many decades, they leave a legacy that will be felt for years to come. We will greatly miss them, but they will always be part of our community. It is my great honor to recognize these faculty members, all leaders in their respective fields, accomplished scholars or artists, and inspirational educators. I will ask them each to stand when their name is called, and please hold your applause to the end. Marion Dry, music. For 2 decades, Professor Dry has been a devoted member of the music department. A much in-demand soloist and director of the music performance program at Wellesley, she has used her talent and her love of teaching to champion students studying voice and to support her fellow performance faculty members. Elena Gasconvera, Spanish. For 44 years, Professor Gasconvera's outstanding teaching, research, and devoted service to Wellesley Spanish Department and Medieval and Renaissance Studies program have significantly enriched this community. She has published widely and with great insight on contemporary film and feminism and the Spanish Middle Ages. David Haynes, chemistry. Professor Haynes, a Pinansky Prize recipient, has touched the lives of hundreds and hundreds of students, including many aspiring scientists and physicians, through his organic chemistry courses and his seminar in medicinal chemistry. For 36 years, Professor Haynes has inspired his students and conducted important research at the intersection of chemistry and medicine. Joel Krieger, political science. A prolific writer and eminent scholar of British politics, Professor Krieger's timeless service to Wellesley, to his profession, and to his students spans 40 years. In that time, he helped shape how Wellesley teaches introductory political science courses, led his department as chair, and demonstrated unwavering commitment to multiculturalism at Wellesley and to the causes of diversity and inclusion. Andrea Levitt, class of '71, French. For 41 years, Professor Levitt has played a pivotal role in the life of the college and has powerfully inspired her students. Professor Levitt founded the Language Studies program as its own major in 1985, served in several leadership roles, including Associate Dean of the college and twice as French Department Chair, and was a recipient of the Pinansky Teaching Prize. Professor Levitt is a highly influential researcher of child language acquisition. Salem Makuria, art, who is unable to be with us today, an internationally recognized filmmaker and video installation artist, Professor Makuria has brought to the classroom and to the campus community endless creativity, leadership in the arts, and a long-standing engagement with social justice. During her 24 years at Wellesley, she single-handedly established the video editing and teaching concentration, helped support interdisciplinary humanities projects on campus, and organized a series of international film festivals and conferences. Marianne Moore, biological sciences. Professor Moore is well known for co-teaching the popular aquatic ecology course Lake Baikal, the Soul of Siberia, a powerful example of the integration of the humanities and sciences. Her impact on Wellesley has been extensive. For almost 3 decades, Professor Moore has brought distinction to the college as a prolific researcher exploring aquatic biodiversity, as an award-winning educator, and as a committed mentor to her students. William Quivers, physics. He's also unable to be with us today. Professor Quivers is a distinguished theoretical physicist specializing in laser spectroscopy of atoms. Through the years, he has maintained a robust collaboration with the MIT spectroscopy group and published in the premier journals of his field. During his 33-year career at Wellesley, Professor Quivers has left his mark, teaching nearly every course required in the major. Susan Reverby, Women's and Gender Studies. The founding faculty member of the Women's and Gender Studies Department, Professor Reverby has enjoyed a distinguished teaching career at Wellesley for 34 years. An award-winning author and a nationally renowned feminist historian, she is widely known as a scholar of the infamous Tuskegee syphilis study and as the researcher who uncovered the troubling history of similar American government experiments with syphilis on Guatemalan prisoners in the 1940s. Nick Rodenhouse, Biological Sciences. A highly respected naturalist specializing in the study of population ecology of forest songbirds. For nearly 30 years, Professor Rodenhouse has shared with his students his passion for ecological conservation and his love of the natural world. As an educator, he has been especially successful in engaging students in in-depth research, expanding global studies programs, and helping the environmental science program to thrive. For your many years of service and for the profound impact you have had on your students and on this community, you have our very deepest gratitude. To each of you, thank you. I am also very pleased to announce that Provost Andrew Shannon has been named the Leah Jelen Porvu Dean of the College. This appointment honors Provost Shannon's many years of service as Dean of the College, his dedication to the faculty, and his skillful leadership as our Chief Academic Officer. We are very grateful for the generosity of Trustee Leah Porvu and her husband Bill, who are here with us today. In naming the Dean of the College as part of the Leah Jelen Porvu Class of '56 and William Porvu Endowed President's Fund for Academic Initiatives, they are signaling their strong commitment to both the faculty and academic innovation at Wellesley. Congratulations. So now, it is my great honor to welcome today's speaker, Secretary Hillary Rodham Clinton. Wellesley class of 1969, the green class of 1969. Madam Secretary, on behalf of all of us, welcome, welcome home. "48 years ago, a young Hillary Rodham delivered Wellesley's first ever student commencement speech, the first of many groundbreaking firsts to distinguish her career. At a time of great turmoil in this country, she identified a singular challenge. It was, and I quote, "the art of making what appears to be impossible, possible." Last year, Hillary Clinton came closer than any woman in history to breaking through what she so memorably called the highest, hardest glass ceiling. She was the first woman ever nominated for the U.S. presidency by a major party, and she won the popular vote. In this way, and in so many others, she's forever changed our sense of what is possible. Throughout her long career, she's done this again and again. As the First Lady of the West Wing, Hillary Clinton continued her work on behalf of women, children, and families, work that had been an abiding passion since her student days. In an historic speech at the UN's Fourth World Conference on Women in Beijing, she asserted that human rights are women's rights and women's rights are human rights, words that still resonate today, and indeed, given the current events, feel newly urgent. Yet another first came in 2001 when she became the first woman ever to serve as U.S. Senator from New York State. When terrorists attacked the World Trade Center only months later, then Senator Clinton quickly secured $20 billion in aid to New York and went on to assure that first responders got health care for ailments that stemmed from exposure to toxic air and dust. Many of us were deeply moved in March when a student whose father was a first responder shared how much these accomplishments meant to her family. In 2009, Hillary Clinton resigned her Senate seat to become Secretary of State. Among her many accomplishments were sanctions against Iran and an Israel-Hamas ceasefire. She made LGBT rights a focus of U.S. foreign policy. And it was under her leadership that the first U.S. ambassador at large for global women's issues was established. She is widely regarded as one of the most effective secretaries of states in the nation's history. But for all her accomplishments, it would be wrong to focus on these alone. At least as important is the spirit behind them, her deep grounding in faith, family, and the vision of a better world. At the heart of Hillary Clinton's life is a single goal: to help as many people as she possibly can. I am not the first to observe that she embodies Wellesley's Latin motto, non ministrare sed ministrare, not to be ministered unto, but to minister. On my Wellesley desk, encased in a plastic sleeve, I have treasured a letter from Senator Clinton, a response to my invitation to speak with Wellesley students following the election. In the letter she writes, "I won't be on the sidelines for long, because I believe so deeply in my responsibility to keep doing my part to build a better, stronger, and fairer future for our country and our world." I have had the honor of knowing Hillary Clinton for more than 20 years, and I've admired her for far longer. But you know what? Never has she inspired me more than she does today. She does not give up, not when it matters. She reminds us both of our capacities and how far we have to go. And as always, she continues to point the way towards that never impossible future. And now, Wellesley's once and always Secretary Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much for that warm welcome. I am so grateful to be here back at Wellesley, especially for President Johnson's very first commencement, and to thank her, the trustees, families and friends, faculty, staff, and guests for understanding and perpetuating the importance of this college, what it stands for, what it has meant, and what it will do in the years ahead. And most importantly, it's wonderful to be here with another green class to say congratulations to the class of 2017. Now, I have some of my dear friends here from my class, a green class of 1969. And I assume, or at least you can tell me later, unlike us, you actually have a class cheer. 1969 Wellesley. Yet another year with no class cheer. But it is such an honor to join with the college and all who have come to celebrate this day with you, and to recognize the amazing futures that await you. You know, 4 years ago, maybe a little more or less, for some of you, this meant I've got to get a lozenge. Thank you. I told the trustees I was sitting with, after hearing Tala's speech, I didn't think I could get through it. So we'll blame allergy instead of emotion. But you know, you arrived at this campus. You arrived from all over. You joined students from 49 states and 58 countries. Now, maybe you felt like you belonged right away. I doubt it. But maybe some of you did and you've never wavered. But maybe you changed your major 3 times and your hairstyle twice as many as that. Or maybe after your first month of classes, you made a frantic collect call. Ask your parents what that was. Back to Illinois to tell your mother and father you weren't smart enough to be here. My father said, "Okay, come home." My mother said, "You have to stick it out." That's what happened to me. But whatever your path, you dream big. You probably, in true Wellesley fashion, planned your academic and extracurricular schedule right down to the minute. So this day that you've been waiting for and maybe dreading a little is finally here. As President Johnson said, I spoke at my commencement 48 years ago. I came back 25 years ago to speak at another commencement. I couldn't think of any place I'd rather be this year than right here. Now, you may have heard that things didn't exactly go the way I planned. But you know what? I'm doing okay. I've gotten to spend time with my family, especially my amazing grandchildren. I was going to give the entire commencement speech about them, but was talked out of it. Long walks in the woods, organizing my closets, right? I won't lie, Chardonnay helped a little too. But here's what helped most of all: remembering who I am, where I come from, and what I believe. And that is what Wellesley means to me. This college gave me so much. It launched me on a life of service and provided friends that I still treasure. So wherever your life takes you, I hope that Wellesley serves as that kind of touchstone for you. Now, if any of you are nervous about what you'll be walking into when you leave the campus, I know that feeling. I do remember my commencement. I'd been asked by my classmates to speak. I stayed up all night with my friends, the 3rd floor of Davis, writing and editing the speech by the time we gathered in the academic quad. I was exhausted, my hair was a wreck. The mortarboard made it even worse. But I was pretty oblivious to all of that, because what my friends had asked me to do was to talk about our worries and about our ability and responsibility to do something about them. We didn't trust government, authority figures, or really anyone over 30. In large part thanks to years of heavy casualties and dishonest official statements about Vietnam, and deep differences over civil rights and poverty here at home. We were asking urgent questions about whether women, people of color, religious minorities, immigrants would ever be treated with dignity and respect. And by the way, we were furious about the past presidential election of a man whose presidency would eventually end in disgrace with his impeachment for obstruction of justice. After firing the person running the investigation into him at the Department of Justice. But here's what I want you to know. We got through that tumultuous time. And once again, we began to thrive as our society changed laws and opened the circle of opportunity and rights wider and wider for more Americans. We revved up the engines of innovation and imagination. We turned back a tide of intolerance and embraced inclusion. The we who did those things were more than those in power who wanted to change course. It was millions of ordinary citizens, especially young people, who voted, marched, and organized. Now, of course, today has some important differences. The advance of technology, the impact of the internet, our fragmented media landscape make it easier than ever to splinter ourselves into echo chambers. We can shut out contrary voices, avoid ever questioning our basic assumptions. Extreme views are given powerful microphones. Leaders willing to exploit fear and skepticism have tools at their disposal that were unimaginable when I graduated. And here's what that means to you, the class of 2017. You are graduating at a time when there is a full-fledged assault on truth and reason. Just log on to social media for 10 seconds. It will hit you right in the face. People denying science, concocting elaborate, hurtful conspiracy theories about child abuse rings operating out of pizza parlors, drumming up rampant fear about undocumented immigrants, Muslims, minorities, the poor, turning neighbor against neighbor and sowing division at a time when we desperately need unity. Some are even denying things we see with our own eyes, like the size of crowds. And then defending themselves by talking about, quote unquote, alternative facts. But this is serious business. Look at the budget that was just proposed in Washington. It is an attack of unimaginable cruelty on the most vulnerable among us, the youngest, the oldest, the poorest, and hardworking people who need a little help to gain or hang on to a decent middle-class life. It grossly underfunds public education, mental health, and efforts even to combat the opioid epidemic. And in reversing our commitment to fight climate change, it puts the future of our nation and our world at risk. And to top it off, it is shrouded in a $1 trillion mathematical lie. Let's call it what it is. It's a con. They don't even try to hide it. Why does all this matter? It matters because if our leaders lie about the problems we face, we'll never solve them. It matters because it undermines confidence in government as a whole, which in turn breeds more cynicism and anger. But it also matters because our country, like this college, was founded on the principles of the Enlightenment. In particular, the belief that people, you and I, possess the capacity for reason and critical thinking, and that free and open debate is the lifeblood of a democracy. Not only Wellesley, but the entire American university system, the envy of the world, was founded on those fundamental ideals. We should not abandon them. We should revere them. We should aspire to them every single day in everything we do. And there's something else. As the history majors among you here today know all too well, when people in power invent their own facts and attack those who question them, it can mark the beginning of the end of a free society. That is not hyperbole. It is what authoritarian regimes throughout history have done. They attempt to control reality, not just our laws and our rights and our budgets, but our thoughts and beliefs. Right now, some of you might wonder, well, why am I telling you all this? You don't own a cable news network. You don't control the Facebook algorithm. You aren't a member of Congress yet. Because I believe with all my heart that the future of America, indeed the future of the world, depends on brave, thoughtful people like you insisting on truth and integrity right now, every day. You didn't create these circumstances, but you have the power to change them. Václav Havel, the dissident playwright, first president of the Czech Republic, wrote an essay called "The Power of the Powerless." And in it, he said, the moment someone breaks through in one place, when one person cries out, "The emperor is naked," when a single person breaks the rules of the game, thus exposing it as a game, everything suddenly appears in another light. What he's telling us is if you feel powerless, don't. Don't let anyone tell you your voice doesn't matter. In the years to come, there will be trolls galore, online and in person, eager to tell you that you don't have anything worthwhile to say or anything meaningful to contribute. They may even call you a nasty woman. Some may take a slightly more sophisticated approach and say, your elite education means you are out of touch. with real people. In other words, sit down and shut up. Now, in my experience, that's the last thing you should ever tell a Wellesley graduate. And here's the good news. What you've learned these 4 years is precisely what you need to face the challenges of this moment. First, you learned critical thinking. I can still remember the professors who challenged me to make decisions with good information, rigorous reasoning, real liberation. I know we didn't have much of that in this past election, but we have to get back to it. After all, in the words of my predecessor in the Senate, Daniel Patrick Moynihan, everyone is entitled to his own opinion, but not his own facts. And your education gives you more than knowledge. It gives you the power to keep learning and apply what you know to improve your life and the lives of others. Because you are beginning your careers with one of the best educations in the world, I think you do have a special responsibility to give others the chance to learn and think for themselves and to learn from them so that we can have the kind of open, fact-based debate necessary for our democracy to survive and flourish. And along the way, you may be convinced to change your mind from time to time. You know what? That's okay. Take it from me, the former president of the Wellesley College Young Republicans. Second, you learn the value of an open mind and an open society. At their best, our colleges and universities are free market places of ideas, embracing a diversity of perspectives and backgrounds. That's our country at our best, too. An open, inclusive, diverse society is the opposite of, an antidote to, a closed society where there is only one right way to think, believe, and act. Here at Wellesley, you've worked hard to turn this ideal into a reality. You've spoken out against racism and sexism and xenophobia and discrimination of all kinds. And you've shared your own stories. And at times, that's taken courage. But the only way our society will ever become a place where everyone truly belongs is if all of us speak openly and honestly about who we are, what we're going through. So keep doing that. And let me add that your learning, listening, and serving should include people who don't agree with you politically. A lot of our fellow Americans have lost faith in the existing economic, social, political, and cultural conditions of our country. Many feel left behind, left out, looked down on. Their anger and alienation has proved a fertile ground for false promises and false information. Their economic problems and cultural anxiety must be addressed, or they will continue to sign up to be foot soldiers in the ongoing conflict between us and them. The opportunity is here. Millions of people will be hurt by the policies, including this budget, that is being considered. And many of those same people don't want dreamers deported or health care taken away. Many don't want to retreat on civil rights, women's rights, and LGBT rights. So if your outreach is rebuffed, keep trying. Do the right thing anyway. We're going to share this future. Better do so with open hearts and outstretched hands than closed minds and clenched fists. And third, here at Wellesley, you learned the power of service. Because while free and fierce conversations in classrooms, dorm rooms, dining halls are vital, they only get us so far. You have to turn those ideas and those values into action. This college has always understood that. The motto, which you've heard twice already, not to be ministered unto, but to minister, is as true today as it ever was. When you think about it, it's kind of a old-fashioned rendering of President Kennedy's great statement, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Not long ago, I got a note from a group of Wellesley alums and students who had supported me in the campaign. They worked their hearts out. And like a lot of people, they're wondering, what do we do now? Well, I think there's only one answer: keep going. Don't be afraid of your ambition, of your dreams, or even your anger. Those are powerful forces, but harness them to make a difference in the world. Stand up for truth and reason. Do it in private, in conversations with your family, your friends, your workplace, your neighborhoods, and do it in public, in Medium posts, on social media, or grab a sign and head to a protest. Make defending truth and a free society a core value of your life every single day. So wherever you wind up next, the minute you get there, register to vote. And while you're at it, encourage others to do so. And then vote in every election, not just the presidential ones. Bring others to vote. Fight every effort to restrict the right of law-abiding citizens to be able to vote as well. Get involved in a cause that matters to you. Pick one. Start somewhere. You don't have to do everything, but don't sit on the sidelines. And you know what? Get to know your elected officials. If you disagree with them, ask questions. Challenge them. Better yet, run for office yourself someday. Now, that's not for everybody, I know. And it's certainly not for the faint of heart. But it's worth it. As they say in one of my favorite movies, A League of Their Own, it's supposed to be hard. The hard is what makes it great. As Tala said, the day after the election, I did want to speak particularly to women and girls everywhere, especially young women, because you are valuable and powerful and deserving of every chance and opportunity in the world. Not just your future, but our future depends on you believing that. We need your smarts, of course, but we also need your compassion, your curiosity, your stubbornness. And remember, you are even more powerful because you have so many people supporting you, cheering you on, standing with you through good times and bad. You know, our culture often celebrates people who appear to go it alone. But the truth is, that's not how life works. Anything worth doing takes a village. And you build that village by investing love and time into your relationships. And in those moments, for whatever reason, when it might feel bleak, think back to this place, where women have the freedom to take risks, make mistakes, even fail in front of each other. Channel the strength of your Wellesley classmates and experiences. I guarantee you, it'll help you stand up a little straighter, feel a little braver, knowing that the things you joked about and even took for granted can be your secret weapons for your future. One of the things that gave me the most hope and joy after the election, when I really needed it, was meeting so many young people who told me that my defeat had not defeated them. And I'm going to devote a lot of my future to helping you make your mark in the world. I created a new organization called Onward Together to help recruit and train future leaders, organize for real and lasting change. The work never ends. When I graduated and made that speech, I did say, and some of you might have pictures from that day with this on it, the challenge now is to practice politics as the art of making what appears to be impossible possible. That was true then, it's truer today. I never could have imagined where I would have been 48 years later. Certainly never that I would have run for the presidency of the United States or seen progress for women in all walks of life over the course of my lifetime, and yes, put millions of more cracks in that highest and hardest glass ceiling. Because just in those years, doors that once seemed sealed to women are now open. They're ready for you to walk through or charge through, to advance the struggle for equality, justice, and freedom. So whatever your dreams are today, dream even bigger. Wherever you have set your sights, raise them even higher. And above all, keep going. Don't do it because I asked you to. Do it for yourselves. Do it for truth and reason. Do it because the history of Wellesley and this country tells us it's often during the darkest times when you can do the most good. Double down on your passions. Be bold. Try, fail, try again, and lean on each other. Hold on to your values. Never give up on those dreams. I'm very optimistic about the future because I think after we've tried a lot of other things, we get back to the business of America. I believe in you with all my heart. I want you to believe in yourselves. So go forth, be great, but first, graduate. Congratulations!
Hillary Clinton. Long before I ever set foot on this beautiful campus, I knew about the power of the Wellesley Network. For years, I'd heard the stories from my mother-in-law, a Wellesley alumna, and from my many friends and colleagues with deep Wellesley ties. What I didn't know until this year was what this truly means. Indeed, all of the things that make Wellesley extraordinary, and pretty much every day I continue to find new ones, none has impressed me more than the ties that bind Wellesley women. 2 decades ago, Secretary Clinton wrote a book, and you've heard it mentioned already today, It Takes a Village. While its focus was on children's issues, the title has far broader meaning. It speaks to the fundamental truth that we need each other, that we are stronger together than we could ever be apart. You, the members of the class of 2017, have been each other's village. You've cheered and challenged each other in times both happy and hard. You've formed lifelong friendships. You've celebrated and mourned. You've lived and learned and experimented. You've spurred each other on. This village has been what it is because of you. Now, as you step into a new chapter, you will carry its spirit with you. That is no small thing. These are not easy times. Along with the usual challenges life inevitably brings, you are graduating into a world that is increasingly polarized, where many of the values at the heart of a liberal arts education are under fire. These include the importance of evidence-based debate in the pursuit of truth, the belief that diversity both of ideas and lived experience enrich us all, the conviction that every human being, every woman, deserves an opportunity to thrive. In such times, community offers a singular source of strength. Social isolation is dangerous, and not only to our spirits. More and more research suggests that it poses health risks, risks that may be even greater than smoking and other well-recognized dangers. The fact is, it is very, very difficult to be resilient on your own. It is also difficult to change the world on your own. As we strive to serve the larger world, community both sustains us and propels us forward. It is where we share hopes and dreams and imagine possibilities. I recently came across these words widely attributed to Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor. She says, "We don't accomplish anything in the world alone, and whatever happens is the result of the whole tapestry of one's life and all the weavings of individual threads from one to another that create something." This deeply resonated with me. The richer the tapestry, the richer the life. Be creative as you weave your own tapestry. Welcome the unexpected. What at first seems extraneous may be exactly what's called for to expand your perspective and your sense of possibilities. Some weeks back, I received a phone message from a young Wellesley alumna, Ahelia Walia, class of 2015. From the sound of it, there was nothing urgent. I was having a very busy week and I almost put it aside, but I'm glad that I didn't. This turned out to be a powerful and inspirational conversation. Ahelia spent her early years in California. When she was 13, financial challenges led her family to move to India, where they could live with relatives. As she neared completion of high school, it wasn't clear whether she'd be able to complete her senior year due to her family's inability to pay the fees. This is where her grandmother stepped in. She took the precious golden bangles off of her wrists and sold them so that Ahelia could complete school and take her SATs. From there, Ahelia made it to Wellesley. She worked hard. At times, academics were a struggle, but she made up for this with sheer force of her passion and relationship building friendships. She won a White House internship and went on to become a field organizer for Secretary Clinton's campaign. And today, she's headed to New York to be the deputy director for Mayor Bill de Blasio's re-election campaign. And we know that Mayor de Blasio's Charlene is a Wellesley alumna. Ahelia is with us today to attend her cousin's commencement. Now, why did Ahelia call me? Well, she wanted to tell me how important Wellesley had been to her life. And I can't tell you how moved I was, how energized and inspired. Now, you might be thinking, I get what you're saying, but if I answer every phone call, I'll never get anything else done. How do I decide if I should veer off course or stay focused on what I perceive as priorities? Well, a friend put it this way: always err in favor of human connection. And in my experience, this is much more than just an excellent rule of thumb. It's a way of life. It's in relationships, in those connections, that magic happens. It's often where we find the inspiration, where we connect most deeply with the best parts of ourselves. Among this year's many Wellesley's firsts for me was the annual hoop rolling contest, the 122nd such event since 1895. Now, this tradition, as we all know, is distinctively Wellesley, but the sport itself has been played around the world since ancient times, from Greece to China. And I'm told that it's still popular in Africa, where it's known as hoop and pole. I found this fascinating, a reflection of how we are both uniquely Wellesley and exist within a larger fabric of traditions that cross time, place, and cultures. This year's first place winner was Laurel Wills. Laurel left no doubt that her victory was a group effort. Hoop rolling, she said, it's a team sport. I couldn't have won without all those people who camped out at the starting line. There's a metaphor here. The hoop that Laurel rolled to victory, the bangles on Ahelia's grandmother's wrists, both of these bring to mind the beautiful circle of life, the legacies that both bring us together and carry us forward. Today is an ending, and it's also a beginning. From here, you head off in so very many different directions. Many of you will soon embark on your first post-college jobs. Others are on your way to graduate or professional schools. Yet others are still looking for the next opportunity, a search for which you will have Wellesley's support. None of these is better than any other. Whatever your next steps, each one of you will bring unique gifts to the world that needs them. While you may never again be together as you are today, you will always be bound together by your time at Wellesley, members of the one and only Emerald class of 2017. You are now and forever Wellesley women, members of a village, a network, a community of which I've never seen the equal. The wooden hoop Laurel Wills rolled this year was passed down through the Shakespeare Society's Sonnet 55 family. It's inscribed with this quote: "You live in this and dwell in lovers' eyes. You live in this." To all of you here today, look around you at this beautiful campus, at each other. Think back on what you've learned and what you've shared. This is what you live in, what you will always live in. Congratulations, class of 2017. So the moment that we've been waiting for. Provost Shannon will now present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts.
In the commencement program, we have listed honors and prizes earned by many of our seniors. Although we will not read honors as we call names for diplomas, we draw the attention of families and friends to this list and invite you to share our pride in the many achievements of these students. In addition, we recognize 4 student athletes who are unable to be at today's ceremony because they are representing Wellesley College at the NCAA National Championships in crew. They are Catherine Barth, Hannah Barton, Olivia Duggan,